I'm going to call the City Council caucus meeting to order for June 22nd, 2015. We have no public hearings tonight, so if the clerk would read the first item for final consideration.
Item number 1 for final consideration, an ordinance amending Chapter 86 of the Schenectady City Code regarding Parks and Recreation Administration.
It's discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 2.
Item number 2, under original consideration, an ordinance reappropriating the adopted 2015 budget.
Okay, discussed in the Finance Committee without objection on consent. Item number 3.
Item number 3, a resolution authorizing the city to accept 2 properties from SURA.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 4.
Item number 4, a resolution approving the 2015 operation agreement of the Front Street Pool.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 5.
Item number 5, a resolution approving the 2015 operation agreement of the Central, Hillhurst, and Quackenbush Park pools.
Also discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 6.
Item number 6, a resolution authorizing the sale of 1133 3rd Avenue.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 7.
Item number 7, a resolution rejecting all submitted bids for select building demolition and debris removal.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 8.
Item number 8, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to settle a property damage claim with Janice Culligan.
Discussed in Claims Committee without objection on consent. Item number 9.
Item number 9, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to settle a tax certiorari case for 1080 Van Velsen Street.
Okay, Mr. Riggi has asked for a roll call vote on that. Okay. Item number 10.
Item number 10, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to settle a tax certiorari case for 1705 Hamburg Street.
Also discussed in Claims without objection on consent. Item number 11.
Item number 11, a resolution recognizing Tammy Lenz's 15 years of service in downtown Schenectady.
This will be taken out of order. Ms. Perazzo will present that. Item number 12.
Item number 12, a resolution recognizing Edward August for 29 years of service as the Executive Director of Better Neighborhoods Incorporated.
This will be presented at another time, so without objection on consent. Item number 13.
Item number 13, a resolution commemorating the 50th anniversary of Villa Italia.
This will also be taken out of order, and Mr. Ferrari will present that. And item number 14.
Item number 14, under Contract and Supply, a resolution awarding a contract for the purchase of manhole frames and covers and catch basin frames and grates 2015 to EJ USA Inc. in the amount of $41,981.90.
Also discussed in committee without objection on consent. And item number 15.
Item number 15, a resolution authorizing the sale of 520 State Street.
Schenectady Street, right? Schenectady Street.
Schenectady Street, I'm sorry.
Okay, this was discussed in City Development and Planning this evening, so again, without objection on consent. All right, if there's nothing else to come before the City Council caucus, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, Mr. Kosher, seconded by Mr. Ferrari. All in favor? Aye. I will now call the City Council meeting to order for Monday, June 22nd, 2015, and ask you to rise for the invocation given by Pandit Ramnaresh Bhushana, Schenectady Hindu Vedic Dharmic Temple.
My namaste to everyone. Nama, respect, bow, te to you, to the members of this congregation this afternoon, to the Honorable Mayor, City Council members, and the citizens of this wonderful city of ours. My prayer tonight would be first in English, followed by a brief Sanskrit rendition, a mantra. Let us all pray, if we can, in English words. O God, creator of this universe, O radiant cause of all manifestations, do remove from our lives, this council meeting tonight, all that is difficult in our experience here, and all tendencies which we may have to transgress your laws, O God, and bring unto us, the members of this community, this city, all that is beautiful, benevolent, auspicious, in dealing with the everyday experiences. May the mayor and the heads of the organizations work towards alleviating the difficulties, the pains that we may have, the issues we may have, and may the impediments be sent away through our collective bargaining with each other and talking to each other, expressing to each other. May we discriminate right from wrong so that we can be blessed to have a wonderful meeting now, and even when we go home. May we have peaceful interactions with our people, our dear ones. Om Agnenaya Supataraya Yasman Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidvan Yuyodhiyasma Johurana Menu Bhuishthante Namauktim Vidhema. One form, many names, O God, guide us. Ek Roop Kai Naam Man Mandir Tera Dham. You live in the recesses of our hearts. Gita ho, Bible ho, Guru Granth ya ho, Quran. Bole sabhi mein tu chahe, alag ho zuban. Desh alag ho, dharm alag ho, ek Rahim aur Ram. Whether we read the Bible, the Gita for the Hindus, the Guru Granth for the Sikhs, or the Quran for the Muslims, every language, every religion speaks of God, of goodness. Wherever we live, whatever we do, God resides in the temple of our hearts. Whatever we do this evening, may the mayor and the council and every one of us, may we sit and discuss, and may everything come to us peacefully. Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi. God bless us all.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Tammy Bell Lentz to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, if the clerk would call the roll.
Ms. Perazzo? Ms. Porterfield?
Here.
Mr. Ferrari?
Here.
Mr. Kosher?
Here.
Mr. Riggi?
Here.
Mr. Mudavaran?
Present.
Ms. King?
Present. All right, we have two out-of-order resolutions tonight. I'm going to wait for Ms. Perazzo to collect my clipboards. Thank you. And the first one is for Tammy Bell Lentz. So, Ms. Perazzo, you take the floor.
Madam President,
You have the floor.
thank you. This is a resolution recognizing the very awesome Tammy Bell Lentz's 15 years of service in downtown Schenectady. Are you ready? Okay. Whereas Tammy Bell Lentz is a lifelong resident of the city and a graduate of Schenectady High School, and whereas for the past 10 years she has been a client service representative for Laz Parking, and most recently at their lot located at Franklin and Liberty Streets. And whereas staffing this location often means that Tammy Lentz is the first smiling face a visitor sees upon arriving to downtown Schenectady. And whereas she's a staple for locals as well, having great relationships with the staff at Ambition Coffee House on J Street, whose beverages she could not go without. I think many of us feel that way. And whereas she is also a considerate and caring neighbor who genuinely cares about the people who park in her lot and beyond, always there to lend a hand when called upon to do so. And whereas Tammy has become a surrogate customer service representative for many of downtown's businesses and organizations, now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor, Gary R. McCarthy, and the City Council do hereby pause in their deliberations to recognize Tammy Bell Lentz's 15 years of excellent customer care in downtown Schenectady and her ongoing contributions to the downtown area. Madam President, I move the resolution.
Okay, it's moved and seconded by Ms. Porterfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations. Thanks.
I just want to say thank you to Jamie Milahot and Chris Isco. He's the one who had to put up with me all this time. And I love my job and my customers. And Mark, you know. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's well deserved. You make a great ambassador for the city of Schenectady, so we're happy to have you there. Okay, the second out-of-order resolution is for the 50th anniversary of Villa Italia, so I'm calling Mr. Ferrari.
Madam President?
You have the floor.
Lo sai che sono tanto orgoglioso per darvi questa risoluzione. I am so honored to be presenting this to you, a wonderful family in Schenectady that works so hard, and we thank you for everything. This is a resolution commemorating the 50th anniversary of Villa Italia. Whereas the immigrant success story is not relegated to our nation's collective distant past, but is part of an ongoing development in our local communities. And whereas the story of the family-owned Villa Italia bakery is unique, but also familiar, tracking its roots back to a tiny village pastry shop in Miturno, Italy, and whereas the patriarch Joseph Milozzi decided to bring his family, his culture, and his baking skills to a new life in upstate New York in 1960. And whereas in the summer of 1965, after working hard and diligently saving, he purchased a small pizzeria called Villa Italia, then located in the town of Rotterdam. And whereas, while growing his business, he met and married Elena Macchiarella, who brought a creative and artistic touch to the pastries, which had quickly overtaken the pizza and cold cuts that had been the early focus of the business. And whereas, together they raised 3 beautiful children and managed to grow their bakery into the success it is today, one that has never been afraid to take risks and that believes strongly in innovation. And whereas the new century dawned, and with downtown Schenectady in the midst of economic renaissance, the Milozzis closed their shop in Rotterdam to open their new location at 226 Broadway. Whereas today, our residents can treat themselves to those same delicious Italian village edibles that Joseph Milozzi brought with him from Miturno, which Elena Macchiarella Milozzi embellished upon, and that their children, Christine, John, and Robert, have ensured will continue to be available for the next 50 years. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor, Gary R. McCarthy, and the City Council do hereby pause in their deliberations in order to recognize the 50th anniversary of the Villa Italia Bakery, to thank the Milozzi family for their ongoing contributions to the success story that is Schenectady, and to encourage the people throughout the Capital District to enjoy the great pastries and cakes available at a shop that has been a Schenectady presence for 50 years. Madam President, I'd like to move this.
Okay, it's been moved, seconded by Mr. Mudavaren. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Madam President, Commissioner, Council members. We're very honored. 50 years, it's no small feat, especially in today's business climate. We all know how difficult it is. I'm very proud of my father for laying the groundwork for everything that we've been able to follow in his footsteps. And for the next generation, we'll have to see. Although at Stella's pre-K graduation last week, when asked what she wanted to be when she grew up, she said,
Baker.
Yay.
we won't hold her to that, but we'll have to see. Thank you very much.
Congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we have no public hearings tonight, so I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from June 8th, 2015. Mr. Kosher, seconded by Mr. Mudavaren. All in favor? Aye. Communications and petitions.
Communications presented to the City Council for Monday, June 22nd, 2015. Under the category of official From the city engineer, a letter recommending the award and purchase of manhole frames and covers and catch basin frames and grates. Under general, there are none, and there are no petitions.
Thank you. Are there any committee reports? Ms. Porterfield.
Health and Recreation. I just want to keep folks up to date of where we are with the park recommendations. The recommendations have been completed by the Recreation Advisory Commission, and this Wednesday they will be meeting with the city to determine exactly what's going to be done in each park based on the funding that we have. And by next committee meeting, hopefully we'll be able to share that information. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. All right. If not, we'll move to privilege of the floor related to the legislative agenda. I have one person signed up to speak, and that's Mary McLain. Is she there? Mary?
Good evening. My name is Mary McLain. I live in the city. Does council know anything more about agenda item number 15, which reads manhole frames and covers and catch basin frames and grates, beside the name of the company from which the city is making the purchase and the cost? Does the city know what it is going to get for $41,981.90. In other words, how many covers, grates, frames, etc. are included in the purchase, what kind of materials are they made of, how thick are they, will they have the city logo, will they be stamped with a pattern, and so on. I did not receive any other literature about this purchase other than what is written on tonight's agenda, which is the name of the company and the cost. Did you receive any more information? Do you know what you are getting for your money? The covers the city has now are quite elaborate and very nice. My neighbor has one on his property, and he made it the focal point of a portion of his flower bed. The manhole covers are worth preserving. Right now, the rust bleeds through, and they always look dirty. Can some kind of clear polyurethane or dull Rust-Oleum paint be brushed on them to avoid the corrosion? It certainly would be an improvement over rusty manhole covers and grates, and keep with the goal of beautifying neighborhoods. Please give these suggestions your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no one else signed up to speak, so I'm going to declare that portion of the meeting closed. I'll entertain a motion to approve the legislative agenda. Mr. Kosher, seconded by Mr. Mudavaran. All in favor? Aye. And that's the consent agenda. We do have one item that was taken out of order, and that was item number 9. Would you read that?
Item number 9, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to settle a tax certiorari case for 1080 Van Velsen Street.
All right, if the clerk would call the roll, unless you, Mr. Riggi, did you want to comment on that first? Okay.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to recuse myself on this vote because Mr. Palmer has been a supporter of mine this past year and helped with my fundraiser, so I think it's appropriate that I don't vote on this.
Okay, thank you. All right, if the clerk would call the roll.
Ms. Perazzo? Ms. Porterfield? Mr. Ferrari? Mr. Kosher? Mr. Riggi? Mr. Mudavaran? Ms. King?
Aye. Okay, so that motion
Measure is passed 6-0.
All right, we will now move to privilege of the floor regarding city business. I have 8 people signed up to speak. The first is Anthony Kurata.
Good evening, Good evening, Council, Madam President. First of all, before I speak, I'd like to say that I'm glad that the community came out to 2 culture and history events over the weekend. The Juneteenth of African American history and culture, and the St. Anthony Talent American Fest there last weekend. Over the weekend, learning about Talent American culture and history. Now, what I'd like to talk about is 2 incidents that have an effect on people's life and safety, as Mr. Burnett said it does not. 1, there's been numerous videos of a situation on Craig Street. How this involves people's life and safety, Mr. Burnett and Council, Madam President, is that there was an individual, cops questioned for cold traffic or whatever. While the individual was walking away, the cop was still talking to him. Now, in this particular video that I saw on Facebook, and I shared on the Schenectady Facebook, and I'm watching at home, and I had a shocked look on my face, was while the officer was called back up, and fellow officers restrained this individual, there was a crowd gathering around. Now, what made me shocked about this was, while the crowd was gathering around, you could clearly see and hear in the video the crowd, 1, threatening the cops' safety and lives. 2, threatening to shoot the cops. 3, threatening to shoot the cops' cars. Calling cops the particular word that I won't say, saying they were bugging. Now, as Mr. Burnett said, with the numerous crimes that this does involve people's life safety? Yes, it does. Because if individuals were there, you couldn't have got hurt in that situation. Second is the video. Now, I don't know if you all are aware of this. I've talked to Mr. Ferrari about this yesterday at the Town Fest. And I believe Mr. Regan knows exactly what I'm about to talk here. I'm not terrorist. Right there by the Andy Schaefer building and the museum. There's a building, a house that's boarded up. Right now it has a plastic fence to danger pests. But what makes this suspicious is, and involves people's life and safety, is that it's one of many known active crack houses in the city. But what makes it suspicious is right there by the museum. You have families not just from the city, other surrounding towns going to the museum to learn with their kids and family members. They're in the Shaver building. You have senior citizens over there. Okay? People going there to visit the senior citizens. I have a friend there who loves to tell people about his stories when he served in World War II. You have county-run businesses in there. You have the Adult Protective Service. You have the County Health Board in there. Now, what makes it about people's life and safety, Mr. Manette, as you say it doesn't, is the fact that would they want to be approached by a crack addict? Now, if somebody boils down to all this stuff that's been happening, that residents and I are concerned about and talk about on Scary Side Schenectady Facebook page, it's 2 messages. 1, positive, is what the council and mayor is trying to send to the people of the city of Schenectady and surrounding towns is 1, positive, that you care about the city, care about the people, and care about the residents and the businesses, or 2, negative. Obviously, it's the negative that you're trying to send, that you don't care about the city, don't care about the residents, and don't care about the business. Now, I say, what messages are you trying to send to the people and city of residents of the city of Schenectady? Plain and simple.
Thank you. Jason Plank.
Madam President, City Council, Mayor Pro Tem, this last Wednesday, the Planning Commission approved some of the projects at the Mohawk Harbor project. It was a little bit of disheartening that the Planning Commission would continue of having housing that is not accessible. You know, they had approved on one of the housing units stairs going into the apartments, and they're raised off the floor almost about 4 feet high off the thing. They also approved staircases going down into the river. And then we also got a kind of a look at the Mohawk trail that's supposed to go through there. It's paying for part of that roadway system back in there, and it's paying for some of the property. You know, how much money is actually going into this thing that's being compensated? You're supposed to have a fair and affordable housing. About 90 to 95% of the housing within Schenectady County and within the city is not affordable and is not accessible. We don't need to add to more of the non-accessibility housing. So I'm hoping that this City Council will take a look at, in the future, of making sure that we're moving forward. Also, too, is that this is the 16th anniversary of the Olmsted decision. Happened in 1999. 2 individuals with disabilities from Georgia filed a lawsuit saying that they were put into homes, nursing homes and group homes, and they were not given an opportunity to live back in the community. State of Georgia did not have any programs put together for affordable and accessible housing. And they successfully sued the state, and they were able to move out of a nursing home and out of the group homes. You know, and they also represented to a point of that you just cannot warehouse an individual with a disability or warehouse a senior citizen and just throw away the key. You must have an integrated plan within the community itself. And we also have proven, the state has proven, that a nursing home and a group home cost over $100,000 a year, whereas if you provide supportive supports within the community, it's only about $50,000. So, you know, it's a lower cost effectiveness, and it's also a morale booster. It keeps people within their homes and as long as they can, and it brings people back into the community. It's known as we don't want to live in a nursing home, don't live in a group home. We want to live within the community of our own choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Marva Isaacs.
Madam President, Commissioner, City Council, 27th. This 27th will be the Neighborhood Association and Block Party, and in Page Street and Page will be having a tag sale. So I'm asking everybody to come out to the Block Party and have a good time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. John Palameni.
President King, Council, Commissioner. In the wake of the heinous tragedy of last week, the residents of Charleston, South Carolina, reaffirmed to the rest of the nation that goodness overcomes evil. Likewise, Schenectady will have its chance this Wednesday, June 24th at 7 p.m. to show how we stand up to evil. There will be a prayer meeting as well as a Bible study at the Bethel AME Church to remember the 9 people who were killed tragically in that evilness of last week. There will be a prayer as well as a Bible study to remember them and their families. On a separate note, as Vice President of BNI, I'd like to invite everybody to the Better Neighborhood Spring Fest this Thursday at 5:30 to 8:30 at Hibernian Hall. Tickets are $25 if you purchase them in advance on the website or on BNI's Facebook page, or $30 in cash at the door. For those that don't know what Better Neighborhoods is, BNI provides quality affordable housing and housing services for those with limited resources. It really helps to stimulate economic development in underserved communities, and it really is a grassroots neighborhood revitalization effort. So those that agree with this and really want to see neighborhood revitalization, please turn out and support Better Neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Eunice Chaffee.
Good evening, council members and the dignitaries above. I have not heard anything concerning the Police Review Board from the council. Although I have not attended meetings regularly, I do listen to it on OSM. In the past, the board at least 3 times a year gave a written account to the council on the number of complaints and the outcome of those complaints. I have asked Mr. Mutaveran to please give a report on what is taking place, but I have heard nothing. Through hearsay, I did hear that 2 or 3 members left the board and have been replaced, but I have not heard who they are and also who replaced the lawyer. I would like to hear a detailed report soon on our police review board, because I do not want it to just vanish. Now, the other thing I want to say is that I tried desperately to listen to the committee meeting last Monday, and because of the fan, I could not hear anything. And I would like to know if there's a possibility of that fan being replaced to a quieter one. Some of us cannot always get to the meetings, even though I like to, because I learn a lot. But it really would be nice to hear what's going on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And perhaps you can connect with Mr. Falatico at the end of the meeting, and he can give you an update. Okay, Frank Wicks.
Right, Frank Wicks. I think we've seen the worst and the best of America down in Charleston, South Carolina last week. The worst is a white supremacist joins a Bible group at a black church, kills a minister and 8 other worshipers with his Glock revolver. The best of America is the grieving families gather and forgive the assassin. It's hard to imagine, but that's what happened. Locally, we have an example of the worst sins of our country can be seen on YouTube, posted by the Daily Gazette and entitled, "Schenectady Man Pepper Sprayed and Tasered by Police." I'll say that a couple more times. Go to YouTube. Everyone go to YouTube. Every council member, Wayne Bennett, everyone in the back row, everyone in the audience. Look at the Schenectady Man Pepper Sprayed and Tasered by Police. It shows Schenectady Police Chief Brian McLain on June 3rd as a witness to the brutality, which makes him directly responsible for the illegal search and trumped-up charges that imprisoned the victim for 6 days without a hearing. The June 10th Gazette identifies the black male victim of the police brutality as a 22-year-old Shaquille Parker. He works in the mailroom of the Daily Gazette and helps his mother care for the grandchildren. A greater tragedy, and this is very important, a greater tragedy is another black male has been unfairly targeted and added to the shameful number of incarcerated black men, or with arrest and criminal records for trivial violations where there's no victim. Human decency calls for the mayor, who's not here, and the city council to promptly and humbly apologize to the victim and to his family. I don't expect you to do it tonight. I'm giving each one of you a copy of the statement to think about it, and I'll be back to make sure to follow up on it. The mayor who appoints the police chief takes an oath to uphold the law, including the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, which protects citizens against illegal search. The police chief obviously oversaw an illegal search. Thus, the police chief should be, promptly fired. These are fairly strong words, I realize, but we have a serious situation here. I want everyone to take this very seriously. Think about it, reflect on it, and I'll be following up each meeting. So here's copies of my own statement.
Thank you. Mohammad Hafeez.
Good evening, Commissioner, City Council members, Madam President. My name is Mohammad Hafeez, and I live in Schenectady. I read the mayor's newspaper column last Friday when he wrote, "Don't let the critics fool you." Since he's referring to us as critics, We are not the ones fooling anybody. When the mayor wrote that Seneca County is giving $19.6 million in tax incentive to the developer, he didn't say that the state offers tax incentives to anybody that spends $10,000 in building improvement around the state. And he didn't say that Seneca County, separate from the town of Tyre, has signed a tax agreement by which they are getting $45 million in the next 20 years. $3.5 million more than what you would have been getting collected from, they would have been collected without a tax agreement. The mayor also said that we're getting 100% of all these taxes, property, mortgage, and sales tax. But we don't have any guarantees that Rush Street Gaming will never apply for those state tax incentives. We don't have any guarantees that Rush Street will never fight its property assessment and get their property assessment reduced. So getting 100% of those taxes is not a guaranteed thing. The mayor also said that we're getting more money than Tyre and Seneca County combined, $14 million a year for our city and county. Do you know how many people live in Tyre? The Tyre township only has 890 people living in it. We have about 65,000 people living in Schenectady. We'll never get more money per capita than what the Tyre town is getting. The per capita share in Schenectady County is $94. $94 per capita. Divide 14.6 million over 156,000. In Tyre, they're getting thousands of dollars per capita, thousands, as opposed to $94. The people of Tyre hired a research group and ordered a casino impact report. Based on that report, they wrote a host community agreement and got the developer to sign it. Seneca County wrote a tax agreement and got it signed by the developer as well. The Seneca Health Department wrote a memorandum of understanding to address problem gambling issues and got it signed. What the mayor did is have Rush Street Gaming prepare the casino community impact, and he didn't prepare any binding agreement or secure the developer's signatures. The mayor didn't lift a finger. Even the money that he says we're getting, it comes mostly from the state. The people of Tyre get an A grade for their tremendous efforts for trying to protect the small town and residents against the adverse impact of the casino. The mayor says the anti-casino critics are trying to get more benefits. We are not trying to get more benefit. We're simply trying to get the mayor to sign an agreement in order to protect our city and residents from the negative impact of the casino. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary McLain.
My name is Mary McLain. I live in Schenectady on a short street, not much longer than the length of a football field. This month, the city made an attempt to fix my street, but the job was not done right. Everyone received a notice from the city not to park on the shoulder of the street while the work was being done. But the shoulder of the street was not paved. The result is horrible. The city engineer told me, quote, he was not beautifying anything. He was fixing a street. When the city tells me it cannot fix my street properly because it does not have the money, I think that's vulgar. Because this city can find every nickel it wants for union contracts. The policeman's overtime budget alone is more than $1 million every year. Earlier this year, you gave couples, city workers with 2-income households, yearly lifetime bonuses of $4,000. But the city didn't have money to fix my little street properly so that it looked good when the job was completed. What this situation says to me is that City Council is not performing its duty according to the tenets of the Comprehensive Plan, a document that Council ordered back in 2005, took 6 years to complete, and cost the taxpayers $500,000. Beautification means nothing to you. For my street or for any place else in the city, who made the call for the hanging baskets? Who decided how many to order and where they should be placed? Some poles have two hanging baskets. Some poles don't have any baskets on the same street. Some poles have a flag in a basket. Some poles have only a flag. There is no uniformity to anything. It's all hodgepodge, not pretty. You wouldn't see that in Saratoga or Cooperstown. Such a situation is not from a lack of money. It means somebody has taste all on his feet. Council, you're not doing your job. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no one else signed up to speak, so I'm going to declare this portion of the meeting closed, and we will move to miscellaneous business of the council. Okay, Mr. Riggi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm glad Eunice Chaffee brought up the problem in the committee room, so I know I'm not alone. She can't hear it over the TV. I'm there, and I can't hear half the stuff that's going on. I spoke with the mayor after the meeting, and I said, you know, we're going to have to appropriate some money for some quieter AC units in the council chambers. And his answer was, we are changing them, but we're triaging them with the offices that need them most. I don't know what's more important than committee chambers where we're making important decisions on spending people's money and also changing law. I don't know what to say, except I could hear very little last week with your back to that, especially that one unit that's on the right-hand side as you're walking in. That's as loud as it gets. And I heard that at the Planning Commission meeting, because it was so loud, they had to shut them off, and then people were gasping for breath. So I think a solution has to be made, and if this council has to do a budget reappropriation, possibly, to pay for new units, I think we should do that, because I think it's very important that when we have public meetings that everyone can hear. Otherwise, I don't see how you can consider that a public meeting. And that's just something that's been going on for quite a while. It isn't getting better. As a matter of fact, I think that one unit is getting louder as years go by. Maybe it needs some oil, I'm not sure. But I hope that maybe we can look into this as a city council, and because the mayor's suggestion, well, shut it off, well, I don't think that's too good either, because we can't have people passing out on the road. But thank you, Eunice, for bringing that up. On the Festa note, St. Anthony's was a successful Festa this past weekend, and Mount Carmel's is coming up. It'll be the 10th, 11th, and 12th of July. That's always a good Festa. Very good, and there's a lot of senior Italian ladies that are still there doing their thing, cooking, and making a lot of goodies for the customers. So that's always a good one to attend, and that'll be the 10th, 11th, and 12th of July. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Porterfield.
Thank you, Madam President. And first of all, I would like to give my condolences to all the families in South Carolina who were victims of that horrific tragedy there. And also to say, as the gentleman said, that they had forgiveness in such a time like this is just really shows the faith that they have. So, you know, my roots are in South Carolina. My mother was born there, so it's just, you know, and I still have family there, so it kind of hits home in that way. Just to hear such a horrible thing at a place of worship, that just shows the lack of respect that people even have for church these days. And so, John Palomini did talk about the vigil. I don't know if you mentioned the address. 540 Mumford Street is where the church is holding the vigil this coming Tuesday. So thank him for mentioning this coming Wednesday at 7 p.m. So thank him for mentioning that. So it will be at 540 Mumford Street. And we hope that people will come out and just offer their prayers and support. We're miles and miles away, but we can minimally do that. And I just want to thank folks that came out to the Juneteenth celebration, specifically the Friday night, which there was a ceremonial burial of crime and violence, something that was done by the community fathers. It was really just something to be a part of that and to realize that the community clearly understands the impact that it has, and to have that that event, to do that ceremony and to raise the awareness of that. It was you know, it was nice. If nice is probably not the word, but it was something that it was significant and understood by a lot of people what the effort was. So I want to thank all of those who supported that, the council members that were there. Really appreciate that. And we continue to do what we need to do in the community on all levels. So thank you again for that. I think those are all the community announcements. The block party was mentioned. So this Saturday from 12 to 5 with the tag sale beginning at 10. That'll last till 3 at on Page Street. So come out and support and be a part of that event. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Okay. Commissioner Bennett? No? Okay. I just want to make one quick announcement that we recently received the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's quarterly assessment rating for the city's lead-based paint hazard reduction demonstration grant. We received a performance rating 100 out of 100, so I think we're making good progress, and I think that's certainly excellent. I would also like to thank all the folks involved with all the different festivals and activities going on this past weekend. I know Mr. Riggi mentioned one, the Juneteenth. We also had the Upper Union Strawberry Fest and the Gay Pride event downtown. I got to several of them, and they were all extremely well attended, and everybody just seemed to be having a really nice time. So my congratulations to all of the folks who facilitated those. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Kosher, seconded by Mr. Riggi. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.